Good afternoon. We're coming to you now, and you've got a guest with you, I understand, as we try to get more reaction while the President is at lunch together with the rest of the Commission's staff who have taken a break now. What can you tell us?
I have the Deputy Secretary General of the ANC, JESSIE DUARTE. Let's get straight into the interview with her. Mr. DUARTE, thank you so much for your time. A lot of focus once again on the Deployment Committee of the ANC. Firstly, the fact that there were no minutes that could be recorded or that were recorded, and that seemingly having a serious impact on this Commission's ability to find out the depth of state capture. How did that happen?
Well, in that period, I wasn't in the Deployment Committee for most of it. But my understanding is that people took their own notes and they would refer to their decisions based on the notes that they had. And they dealt with the decision and finished it, you know. So there was nothing to follow up. So I don't think it's a major crisis. I think that it's the methodology that was used to work, and it changed in 2017, and minutes were taken and they were provided to the Commission. So it's not entirely accurate that the Commission doesn't have any minutes. They were given from 2018 or 2017 to 2021.
What the President's testimony this morning has revealed is that there appear to be certain key decisions taken outside of ANC structures, specifically like the establishment of the inquiry at Eskom. How did that happen, considering the ANC was the party that was supposed to be curating those decisions? Well,
as far as we know, and I've heard for the first time, that there was such a meeting that was held, and I'm hearing it from the Commission in 2015, such a meeting happened where there was a decision to suspend Eskom, EXCO, and to suspend, I think, the EXCO, and to have an inquiry. What we did know about was that there would be an inquiry once it was announced. But that wasn't a decision taken in the ANC.
A lot of the President's answers has been that he's shocked by things that have happened, surprised, and that he didn't know, considering he was so high up in the ANC. Could that have been possible, and how does that happen within an organization like the ANC?
It can happen. You can have a meeting on your own with 3 other people, and you don't tell your colleagues about it, and that's how that happened. It's not really a conspiracy that he's trying to hide here. He just, who knew? We knew about that inquiry when it was announced. I think sometime in March or April of that year. Yeah.
Right, I'll leave it there. Thank you for your time, Mr. DUARTE. And with me I also have the leader of the Democratic Alliance, John Steenhuisen, to talk a little bit more about the testimony this morning, particularly around the JESSIE and the Deployment Committee. John, we discussed this before the Commission began, and you said you wanted answers on whether or not the ANC wanted to deploy judges. Based on what you've heard, is that a sufficient answer?
Well, I think it's a shocking answer that we've heard today, that the ANC was discussing and deciding upon judicial appointments outside of the JSC and making sure that their will was done. I think this has called into question the entire judicial appointment process in South Africa, and I think it's cast significant doubt on those processes. But I also think it shows just how deep this phenomenon of state capture went, and what a prime role the Deployment Committee of the ANC played in facilitating that state capture. I think all of the negatives have come out today. What I don't understand is why the President has not just put up his hand and said, we're walking away from this. This is not something we're going to do anymore. It is something that I'm disbanding the committee. But instead there seems to be this continued defense of the committee's role, despite the fact that it's wreaked havoc, it has caused huge suffering, and it's wrecked many state-owned entities and government departments. And the South Africans are suffering because of that.
He's defended it on the basis that he believes lobbying is allowed within a democracy. And the ANC's head of policy, Jeff Radebe, saying that each political party, even within the JSE, where there's MPs are, have their preferences. What's your response?
Well, we don't discuss judicial appointments in our caucus or in our party. We have members that we appoint onto the Judicial Services Commission, and their job is to interview the applicants and make a decision based on those interviews. What we're hearing the ANC are doing is they're deciding before those interviews even begin who they're going to back and appoint, making a complete mockery of the Judicial Services Commission and rendering their work really now, I think, having to come under some scrutiny.
And you did mention that the DA wanted to take some steps in the legislature regarding the deployment committee. What is that?
Well, we have introduced today in Parliament the eNCA deployment bill, which is a bill introduced by Dr. Leon Schreiber, which will end cadre deployment, as we know. It will prevent party political appointments into the civil service and to state-owned entities for any government department and for any political party. We believe it's a necessary step. Given what we've heard about the evil outcomes of cadre deployment and the terrible work done by that committee, we can end it for once and for all and ensure that we don't end up with state capture happening again in another form by ending cadre deployment.
All right, thank you so much. That's John Steenhuisen. He's the leader of the Democratic Alliance. Some strong views there, Braden, but as you can see, the ANC seeming to be happy with the testimony of their president so far and listening closely to some revelations about how government deals were done outside of the ANC. For now, it's back to you.
Thank you very much, Govan Whittles. Of course, we will go back live to the state capture inquiry when it resumes after lunch. Usually, the Deputy Chief Justice and the Acting Chief Justice, Raymond Zondo, is on time. So in about 35 minutes or so, we'll take you back live to the state capture. But for now, let's focus